Hey there. Thank you for everyone's patience as we slowly trickle in here. Give us about 2 more minutes and we'll begin to join.
I suspect this is a Sterling Bay's project
How could you tell?
because of Fred, man. He's like the face of Sterling Bay.
Oh, so with all due respect, please know that in preparation for our meeting to begin, this is live streamed on Facebook currently.
Hey Alderman, how you doing? Katie, how you doing?
Carla, a couple of other folks on our team are having the same problem that I had.
I wonder why that is.
And they're getting that email message that I got this morning that said the email, was
About,
denied, something like that.
can you send them that passcode, Fred?
Yeah, I'll
They
send.
on your team? Are they Sterling Bay email
They,
address?
they are both Sterling Bay.
I wonder if that, let's look into that. That's something curious for me to look into, but if you can share them, the passcode, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna just forward what I received from you
Okay.
earlier. Okay, I think Adam resolved. I don't know about Brian.
Fred, would you like for us to continue to wait for the other two, or do you want us to continue and we'll add them as panelists as they log in?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're ready to start, I think, yeah, I think we should start. I don't want to hold up your time or the Alderman's time.
They're not the architects, are they?
No, we have Ryan, he's on, so
Are
Fred
you
and
the
Ryan
architect?
are the presenters, so we should be good to do our presentation and then we can watch for them.
Okay, fantastic. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you all so very much for your patience. As you've heard by the prompt, please note that tonight's meeting is being recorded as well as being streamed on Facebook for note-taking purposes. Thank you all for attending tonight's meeting for the proposal at 1300 West Carroll. I'm Carla Agustinelli, Director of Community Partnerships and Development for West Central Association. West Central Association is the official chamber of commerce for the Near West Side, a delegate agency for the City of Chicago for both the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, as well as the Department of Planning and Development, as we serve as the service provider for the Greektown Special Service Area. Our team provides our members with customized guidance in permitting and licensure, both application and compliance, marketing, community engagement, etc. Most recently, we've been assigned the responsibility of hosting all community meetings regarding zoning changes, proposed developments for Alderman Burnett. If you've attended any of these meetings over the years, you understand that the feedback obtained is critical in the urban landscape of the community and city. Not only are we reviewing the land use, encouraging responsible tactical urban design, but as a collective, we assist in negotiating community benefits. Understanding our role and commitment to transparency, West Central Association continues to gather data as we establish a development dashboard, a tool that will help track proposed developments from inception to permit issuance or non-supportive proposal in some instances. We believe that this tool will play a significant role in future development. Once again, housekeeping rules for tonight and all future meetings. They're easy. Please keep questions relevant to tonight's proposed development at hand. If the question is related to a larger scale or needs more extensive responses, we will pin the conversation and get back at a later time. Also, in the event that comments or questions are disrespectful or demonstrative of any hate or slander, we will remove and dismiss the comments. Zero tolerance. We want to be respectful of everyone's time and well-being. Please post your questions and comments in the Q&A box. They will be addressed after or during the presentation. And with that, I'll introduce Armando Chacon, President of the West Central Association Board of Directors.
Thank you, Carla, and good evening, everybody. I actually don't have much more to add to that, so I think we can, at this time, I'd like to hand it over to 27th Ward Alderman Walter Burnett. Alderman, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Armando. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank God for the opportunity to be here and that we still have interest in our community more so than anywhere else in the city. I'd like to commend all of the people who are on and who have interest in what's happening in the neighborhood. As Carla alluded to, the way we deal with zoning, we encourage proposed developments to go, first of all, to the local community organizations. In this instance, there's three of them, the West Central, West Loopgate, and also neighbors of the West Loop. Then we have a community meeting to make sure that folks that may not be involved with these organizations and maybe other organizations have an opportunity to see the proposal and have some input. One of the things that we do not base our decisions on, nor is there a rule in planning or zoning to base a decision on, is a view. We do not base our decisions on views. Everything just about that has been built in the last several years have blocked a view. So if we would have made decisions, there would probably be nothing built in the area. So with that, I'd like to be able to look and see what's being proposed. As I said, when they come to see me, I send them to the developer. They also go to the local community organizations, but we also have input from the Department of Planning. I'm sure there may be somebody from the Department of Planning that may be in this meeting. And so we have to take input from all different parties, the community organizations, the community, and also the Department of Planning. I think also in this instance, this development may have went through the design guideline presentation where they go before a bunch of architects. I hope that they did all of that before we had this meeting. And I hope that they visited with planning before they had this meeting. So that, okay, fantastic. So what we are seeing now, the proposals is what has been vetted through the planning architectural review and also the planning department. And then they would allow, if it's approved here, they would allow this to go to the plan commission, and then it would go to the zoning committee, for which I sit on both of those bodies. So with that, we're going to allow the developer to present. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.
Great. Thank you very much, Alderman Burnett, and thank you, Carla, and everybody at WCA for co-hosting tonight's meeting and allowing us to present 1300 West Carroll tonight. My name is Fred Carroll, and with me tonight are from Sterling Bay, Kiana Barrett, Brian Bazanis, and Adam Chodos. Also joining us are representatives from SOM, KLOA, and Omni Ecosystems, who've all been helping us on this project. We first introduced 1300 West Carroll in the fall of 2021, and since that time, and with the community's input and input from the Department of Planning and Development, we've made a variety of improvements to the project. We'd like to share those with you tonight, and to help us do that is Ryan Culligan from SOM, who will walk us through the presentation deck. So with that, I think we'll turn it over to Ryan. And Carla, if you could allow Ryan to share his screen, that we'd appreciate it.
Should be able to see my screen. Thank you all for joining tonight. It's our pleasure to present the design progress for 1300 West Carroll. We look forward to hearing your feedback, questions, and comments. This project has been presented to the community and to the folks with DPD as far back as fall of 2021, and the process of design revisions has been robust and productive. Back in fall of 2021, the design that you see on the left is what the design and project team had developed. And over the course of the last year and a half, we have revised the design to respond to feedback and comments that have accomplished the following, shown on the right. The total FAR for the development has been reduced from an 11.5 to a 10. The buildings have changed in their plan shape from being bar buildings to being point buildings that have more space, air, and light between them. The amount of open space has been increased by more than 50%. The podium has been reduced in size. The residential entrance has been calibrated to the facade design of the building above. The total unit count has been reduced by a little bit more than 200 units. And a portion of the parking has been relocated to below grade as a way to improve the public realm. The project, as I'm sure many of you know, is positioned in the northwest corner of the Fulton Market District. It's bordered on the west by Ada Street and Ogden, on the south by Carroll Avenue, and on the east by Elizabeth. To the north are the metro tracks. We're proposing a phased mixed-use development. There would be 2 phases for this project, and the design that you're going to see tonight focuses on phase 1, the first phase that we propose to build. That phase is biased to the east and north of the site, as is shown on this diagram, and it is a mixed-use building that includes at the ground floor some retail, lobbies, amenities, a residential rental building, and a office building on the south of the site. We'll talk a little bit about what those designs look like. With respect to the massing and site planning for the development, we've created a few images that give context to the bulk and form of the development within the neighborhood, showing both existing and approved plan developments. And one of the things that we have endeavored to do and are quite happy with the results is to shape the buildings, the skyline presence, and their roofscapes to key into key datums in the surrounding context. The buildings step down towards the west as they move towards Ogden. They're spaced as far apart as they can be on the site to create as much air and light between them. That light is driven down to the public realm. And the buildings are compact in shape to create, points on the skyline rather than walls on the skyline. The site has gone through some significant developments, we think, for the betterment of the public and the vitality of the pedestrian environment along Carroll and on Elizabeth. On the left, you can see the site plan that was presented back in fall of 2021. I'm going to train your eye to a few things to orient everybody. Elizabeth Street to the right, the tracks off the page to the north, Carroll to the south, and Ada to the west. The light blue color is the proposed phase 1 development, and the darker blue color is the proposed phase 2 development. On the left is what we had shown a couple of years ago, and on the right is what we propose tonight. One of the big differences that has developed, in conversation with both the community and with the officials from the Department of Planning and Development, has been the increase of the public realm. The plaza that you can see here is significantly larger now than it was before, as these buildings have been moved further apart. To talk a little bit about the functions of the ground floor, you can see that in phase 1, part of the phase 1 development will be a new pocket park accessible to the public off of Elizabeth Court. A sizable pedestrian sidewalk connecting Carroll to that park is part of this design proposal. And then to the west of Elizabeth Court would be the phase 1 development and the above grade structure. An office building would be accessible from the south off of Carroll, and the residential entrance tucked more quietly on the edge of Elizabeth Court. All vehicles, that's all passenger vehicles and all service vehicles, intentionally will be brought in from the northwest corner of the site. This is done to make as safe as possible the pedestrian and public realm surrounding the entire development. You can walk from edge to edge across the entire site, all the way to the Elizabeth Green without ever having to cross traffic. This is one curb cut on the northwest. I'm going to bring us all from the ground up through the typical levels of the development to explain where the program is, the different uses, and how they work. One thing to keep in mind, and we'll talk a little bit about this in the coming slides, is that we as a project team have endeavored to create public active front of house uses on all sidewalks and all parking and back of house biased to the northern portion of the site where the tracks are. Moving up one level, this is the level 2 of the phase 1 development. And you can see that there's office program on the south of the site and an above grade parking deck to the north of the site, again, along those tracks. Moving up one level, the plan is virtually the same. There are 3 levels of above grade parking, levels 2, 3, and 4. This includes all above grade parking, and there's 1 level of below grade parking underneath the footprint of the structure. Once we get above the parking podium, the footprint of the building that rises above is split in its use. It's a true mixed use building with office on the south and residential amenities on the north. Building tenants would have access out onto the rooftop of this parking podium. Moving up one level, this is a typical office floor. Level 6 through 9 will look like this. And above the typical office levels, there is a rooftop accessible for office tenants. So a small rooftop amenity, which calibrates to the local roof heights of the surrounding context. Moving higher, the typical residential plans, levels 12 through 38 on the left with a residential amenity and rooftop terrace at level 39. And then the top of the building with a mechanical penthouse and crown. We've tried at every step along the way to design in accordance with the West Loop design guidelines. And we've highlighted a few of the guidelines which we we think really strongly incorporated into the DNA of this project. One of the ways that we are in accordance with the West Loop design guidelines is through material. The guidelines call for a respect for urban authenticity and of the existing historic character of the neighborhood. The site, a former Archer Daniels Midland wheat mill, has also informed our material selection. And so different elements of the project use a concrete expression or a metal formed cladding expression or perforated metals. We think that this palette of materials is both respectful of the site's history and is quite compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The diagram on the left talks about basically ensuring access to high quality open space. There are 2 signature open spaces proposed in this project across both phases, phases 1 and 2, that are connected by a widened sidewalk along Carroll. So there's the Pocket Park, which is part of the phase 1 development, and the Plaza, part of the phase 2 development, connected by that West Carroll sidewalk. I also talked about the way that the buildings have been shaped and spaced to create daylight for the public realm. The buildings are positioned as far as they can be to the east and west edges of the site and staggered so that light passes by each other. And they are spaced such that with southern orientation, you get lots of daylight to the proposed Pocket Park and to the proposed plaza. The roof lines have been calibrated to respond to the local context with basically 3 different roof levels. The roofs at the tops of the buildings, at the middles of the buildings that kind of correspond to a middle scale of the neighborhood, and then at the lower rise scale at the 3 to 4 stories above the street. So that as you're walking by, these setbacks help to improve the quality of light and also the human scale feeling of this portion of the Fulton Market District. I talked before about the way in which the site plan has been oriented to create front of house uses where the public realm has access and to put the back of the house where people aren't walking. And that's what this diagram on the right shows. Basically, the parking and podium elements are biased to the north where you don't have active sidewalks on the north of the development. And then, lastly, but certainly not least, one of the design guidelines for the West Loop speaks specifically to frontage approximate to Ogden Avenue, and for taller structures, basically to use that as an opportunity to create, iconic gateways. And we very much see these two buildings on, the edge of Ogden as a potential gateway, basically, to the western edge of the Fulton Market District. Let's talk a little bit about some of the design ideas that have underpinned our concept. Here's what it looks like. And we were, frankly, inspired by the old Archer Daniels Midland wheat mill. Elements from that structure have been interpreted in what we think are contemporary and beautiful ways. The office structure, where my cursor is, the kind of the bottom half of the design, is characterized by a concrete expression and these bowed windows on the south elevation fronting Carroll. These are reminiscent of the silos of the old site, and they'll catch light in what we think will be beautiful ways. In the morning, these silos will glimmer a little bit, and then as the sun moves across the sky, the character of those bay windows will change and kind of flutter with light. The tower above is a metal and glass clad residential building with a silo-like crown element that instantly becomes a recognizable feature on the skyline and has a functional use for amenities for building residents. Here you can see the kind of terminus of Elizabeth Street, a small landscaped area at the end of that, and then those widened sidewalks along Carroll. We're going to get down now to eye level and take a look at the proposed development from several vantages. Here we stand kind of on the south side of West Carroll, looking to the north. So here's the sidewalk that we've widened along Carroll. And here's an elevational detail of the office building that we're proposing, and those kind of bay windows reminiscent of the silos from the site's past. That kind of concrete expression, that raw, but we think also refined materiality, is intentionally relating to the neighborhood context, and we think belongs to the neighborhood in a way that is complementary and respectful. We're now positioned so that we're standing and seeing the intersection of Elizabeth and Carroll. As the building turns the corner, those bay windows give way to almost like an X-ray of the structural system of the building. The columns and capitals of those columns are expressed on the building's facade, giving it a very utilitarian, but also what we think is quite refined and beautiful facade expression, a unique facade expression for Chicago. Terraces for office tenants are present on every floor and break down the scale of the massing from the south to the north. There's a setback above the office building for that recessed roof level, and then the residential building extends above that. Now we're standing kind of on the end of the proposed Elizabeth Street Court. This would be the residential entrance into the residential program. You can see those terraces for the office building beyond. And then over our back and left shoulder is the pocket park that will be publicly accessible. Over our back right shoulder, and you'll see it in this next image, is the provision for a potential connection to a future metro station that would be to the north of the development outside of the property line. But the design for this pocket park has been done such that it is conducive to recreational activities, picnics, as well as the incorporation of diverse native grasses and plantings. Sidewalks have been designed for ease of movement, flexibility, and safety. And with that, as an overview of the project, I'll kick it back over to Fred and the Sterling Bay team to talk about the community benefits.
Thanks very much, Ryan. On this slide here, you'll see what we consider to be many of the community and economic benefits that come along with this project. Among them are roughly $4.2 million payment into the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, which would come with phase one, the creation of 72 on-site affordable housing units, 26 and 6 MBEWE participation goal, generous new green space along Elizabeth. In addition, and as Ryan mentioned, some of the revisions that we've made along the way include a more than 50% increase in the amount of open space that this project will deliver, a reduction in the podium size, and relocating some of the parking underground. So with that, we are happy to turn it over to questions.
I'll just jump in and kind of MC the Q&A. The first question, which I think Ryan came through before you talked about the design, but just in case you have anything to add to it, is from Butler Adams. The question is, are we really trying to copy silos that were demolished with those form not follow function with those curves? And I like I said, I think this came through right before, but in case you had anything to add specific to this.
Yeah, sure. So I would rephrase. I don't think that we're trying to copy the silos. I think that we're inspired by them. And we're trying to take a beautiful geometric form and to find use for them. So those bay windows have utility, they have value. They take gazing directions on the south of the building, and they kind of push them up and down the long avenue of Carroll. What they also do as you're walking along Carroll is they create an object of interest on the facade that catches light in a beautiful way, and that makes the building facade feel special. So it's doing things, past just trying to replicate what had been there. And we're quite excited about the spaces that it will create both inside and the facade expression that it will have on the outside.
Oh, sorry, Armando, I see your hand up, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would like to say a couple of things, kind of in response to Butler Adams' comment, is I actually like the nod to the old, to the past here. So I appreciate Ryan's response to that, but I actually saw that as a positive, as a way to, again, give a nod to the past. So I wanted to just respond to that. The other thing I wanted to say is, any park or open space we can get in our community is appreciated. And I don't believe you've gone before the Committee on Design, and I know that they are well intentioned, but I surely hope that they don't suggest that the open or park space be reduced the way it was very recently for 1234 West Randolph. I'm not denying that they may have had their reasons, and again, I appreciate what they do, but as I mentioned, right now there's a priority on park and green space, as big or small as it may be. So would like to just suggest that it certainly not get smaller.
Yeah, absolutely, Armando. Through this process, we've actually increased the amount of open space that the project will deliver by, over 50%.
Just to clarify too on the process, I think Butler had asked this. I wanted to just, we haven't gone to Committee on Design and don't plan to be. I think our next step would be a Plan Commission hearing. Some projects go to Committee on Design, some don't. There's not necessarily a specific reason why some are go through DPD review, which we've been going through for quite some time, and this plan incorporates their feedback, so including increasing the open space. So we wouldn't anticipate any reduction in that.
Thanks, Katie.
Of course. The next question is from Butler. Why was there a reduction in density with the removal of 200 units? That's a removal of about 400 affordable units. I don't know if someone, Fred, you want to weigh in on this?
So I think as we indicated at the outset, we've been in discussions now with the department on this project for well over a year. The density, the overall FAR was part of that discussion, and ultimately we were able to reach a compromise at an overall 10 FAR. But you are right, Butler. The density has reduced or has been reduced since the initial proposal back in the fall of 2021.
The next question from Ian, and I'm sorry, Ian, I'm not going to pronounce I'm going to mess up your last name. Achong, I think actually. What is the overall, or what will be the unit mix, overall project cost and construction timeline for both phases? So for phase one, we have currently we're at about 38% efficiencies, 46% 1-bedrooms, and 16% 2-bedrooms. I believe. Let me just pull it up. Oh, sorry. Let me see here, Brett, if you have the project cost estimate, and if you or someone else on the team want to talk about timeline.
I mean, we would like, we're targeting a start date by Q4 of this year. We expect that phase one would take, roughly 2 years, and our plans now call for starting phase two within a year or so after the completion of phase one.
Great. The next question from Lucas Kugler is the 741 units just for phase one, and what is the final height of the phase one tower? So the phase one building is 361 units. So the 741 is the overall unit count. And then the final height for phase one tower is 515 feet. The next question is, will Sterling Bay be willing to adopt a landmark for the 1393 Westlake Old La Luce building? That could be a partial redemption for the silo demos. And it was from Butler. Oh, sorry.
Well, I would remind Butler here, as part of the Neighborhood Opportunity Bonus Fund payment that we're making, 10% of that amount goes to the Adopt a Landmark program.
Right, so that's definitely an opportunity, and that goes into a citywide Adopt a Landmark fund. So if I can't see if someone from DPD is on, but we'll be sure to communicate them back to them, because it's a great idea. Anonymous attendee, I think this is more a clarifying question of why is the number of affordable units under 20%? It's definitely not. We will be doing at least 20% on site. And then can you clarify how big the pocket park is? I don't know, Ryan, if you have that number handy. If not, I'll pull it up.
Offhand, I don't, but I could also pull it up.
It's a total of 35,172 square feet of open space. That's between both the new park and the plaza.
Yeah. Phase one, phase two would be that amount.
Next question is from Lucas Kugler. Is there a potential timeline for heading to Plan Commission? We don't have a Plan Commission date set yet. Part of the process is what we're doing tonight, which is the community meeting. We'll take feedback received tonight, go back to the city, and kind of continue through the process. And so we don't have a set date yet, but that will obviously be public. Notices will go out. It will go in the newspaper when we are set for that date. And Ryan, if you could pull up information on the height to tag onto this question, just to clarify in case I messed it up. But Butler said, I'm curious on the floor count and height. In the PD application, one tower is to be 418 and the other 515. What's the planned height for phase one? One thing to clarify in the process again is we filed the application quite some time ago and have been talking with DPD since then. So if the heights have changed, well, I know the heights have changed since then, but Ryan can jump in with the current proposal.
So that actually is the current proposal. The phase one proposed height is 515 feet tall, and the phase two proposed height would be 418 feet tall.
We got it right this time. I think this question is for the aldermen, but I've only read the first 3 words from anonymous attendee. Does the alderman or anyone know if any grocery stores have explored the retail space in this general area? That I remember mentioning interest in another meeting with community, and then overall project / design looks very cool. So alderman, have you heard from any retail interest?
No, we haven't.
Okay. And thanks for the compliment, anonymous. And then another one, are the 72 affordable units only in phase one? Yes, phase one will have 72 affordable units, but then phase two will have additional affordable units. That will come up back for site plan approval, but it would also have 20% of the final unit count.
So Katie, this doesn't fall under the encouragement for 30%?
It does. We're north of Lake here, so we'll be working with DOH. We haven't met with them yet, but we plan to in the next couple of weeks.
And also, I heard you all speak about parking underground. How many parking spaces are there?
In phase one, roughly 259 parking spaces, some of which will be underground.
Okay, and how many in phase two? Any?
I think we're still settling on that, depending on the ultimate programming of phase two.
Okay. So phase one is going to be done first. Then you're going to go to phase two. So in phase one, you're going to have the residential units and the offices.
Correct.
And that's what the silo, the silo part.
Correct, Alderman. What we've shown here tonight in rendered form is phase one.
So will the open space come with phase one, or will it?
The open space to the east of the phase one building will be delivered with phase one. And we probably have a site plan which can show that well. Yeah, this is a good one here.
Alderman, all of this highlighted in the red would be part of phase one. So this pocket park would be part of phase one, street improvements, sidewalks.
Along with the parcel on the east side of what's labeled here as Elizabeth Court.
Okay.
I had one more question in the chat. It's don't go far, Alderman. For the Alderman from Butler, I know there are plans for a metro stop with the West Loop, Fulton Market area becoming a second downtown. Has there been thought of adding a stop at Elizabeth and Ada? I don't know.
Not that I know of, Butler, but they're studying. Right now, they're just doing a study on a stop. There's a long way to go for a stop. So we're working in coordination with Metra and all of those folks, and planning, put forth a study, and we're trying to wait and see how this is going to go and when things are going to start happening. And the community will be advised when it does. If I'm not mistaken, the idea was that a stop was going to be potentially at Ashland and Kinsey, and then ingress and egress was going to also be at Ogden and Kinsey.
And then Butler clarified, Alderman, that he meant a new L stop at Elizabeth and Ada. I don't know if you've heard anything about that.
Not at all.
Okay.
And speaking of the metro stop, by the way, I can't answer questions on or ask questions maybe because I'm a panelist. But just wanted to commend you guys on having the foresight to kind of plan for that Metro stop and incorporating that in your development. But I believe Louis is on here in regards to just traffic flow. I actually drive from the south north on Ada towards Ogden pretty often. And I was just wondering if there were any changes that Louis or Sterling Bay might be suggesting for Ada, particularly just a little south of the site. Or is that something CDOT or maybe you Alderman that you're considering? It's not really related to this project, but maybe it is as we get more density in this area.
I apologize, Armando. I stepped away for a minute. What did you say?
I was just referring to the traffic flow from the south coming up north on Ada Street towards Ogden, just south of Lake Street, and then not as much north of there towards Ogden is as bad, but as we add more density, I'm just thinking, whether that there had been any thought about how to better manage that. It's already just between, at least for now, between Randolph and Lake, it's pretty tight. I think it's a slightly narrower block. So I'm just wondering if maybe this would be an opportune time to just kind of think ahead as we think about adding, another building or two in this immediate area.
Yes. So if I'm not mistaken, the Department of Transportation are looking at all of the streets going north and south between Ogden and Halsted Street. Of course, we have challenges with Green, we have challenges with Racine, Ada get real tight. Not only, it also gets tight at between Lake and Fulton Street. So we looking at potentially seeing which way of making streets one-way streets. So we're having those conversations. And hopefully sooner or later we'll be able to bring transportation to the table and they'll be able to show us what they've come up with. But they've been working on it for a minute. Some of these streets can't, like Racine and Ada. I mean, if two cars go down, one car got to it gets real tight,
Yeah.
And so we're very aware of that, and we're trying to come up with some changes. And also, Green Street is pretty much almost the same way in some areas. So we're looking at all of that.
Yeah, I'm maybe even rethinking, where parking is allowed and so forth. But anyhow, well, thank you for that, Alderman. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And the next comment from anonymous attendee, which I think it's a question, but I think also kind of a comment, is can we advocate for CTA to begin considering an L stop at Elizabeth? Oh,
Elizabeth and what?
Yes, there would be Lake.
yeah.
I'm having a fight right now trying to get them to put a stop at Halsted. So we take that under. Well, anyway, I'm having strong discussions about it, but you can look at it.
And on that, any other questions, comments? We have one more from Butler. You want to go ahead, Katie?
I think it was, I'll just read it for everyone's benefit. Butler said, personally, I hope there's consideration for restoring the original density unit count and increasing the height for phase 2. I'm getting 600 feet at 420 North May, and I want that topped. So,
Well,
noted.
we appreciate the comment, Butler. Keep in mind, there is a phase 2.
Yeah, and I would imagine, Butler, as you know, I don't know of too many developers who try to do less. They generally try to do more. And also, I do know that planning also try to do more. So I would imagine it must be something economic for them to have bought it down. So that I think that's between them and their investors, I guess.
I just want to note and say I appreciate Butler's passion for our neighborhood. Butler, you should live here, man. You know this neighborhood well. Appreciate your input.
Okay, well then on that, we will go ahead and wrap up tonight's meeting. We will have this posted on all of our outlets for further review and follow up.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you.
Call me Piata.
Thank you, Armando.
Thank you, Fred, Brian, Katie,
right.
as always. Great
Good night.
job.
Thank you, Katie, Ryan,
you, Alderman.
everybody.
Thanks all. Good night.
Good night.